Hi, Kathy.
Hi,
It's good to see you again in our fall colors.
I know, we kind of matched today.
I know. If you're watching on Zoom, we're wearing our oranges and our blacks, and it's getting close to Halloween, too.
It is. October is flying. It's crazy.
I know. I can't believe it. That is why we are taking this episode to talk about National Novel Writing Month, which happens to be November.
Also known as NaNoWriMo.
NaNoWriMo. So for all you writers out there, you already probably have heard of this. For those of you who have always wanted to write that novel, that's where this started. Somebody, I did not write down the gentleman's name, but it started like 1999 or something. And he said, let's write a book in a month, and that'll force people to just buckle down and do it.
So it's a nonprofit, right? Like it's a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, now it is. Originally, it just started out, like some guy with his writing group was like, all right, we're going to do this. And it spread.
I really am fascinated by this whole NaNoWriMo. It's a thing. Like it's a world. Like there's a whole NaNoWriMo world.
Right. And their website is just a font of information as well as where you sign up for NaNoWriMo. First of all, it doesn't cost anything. Okay. Second of all, if you win NaNoWriMo and get your 50,000 words in the month of November, you get maybe like an email certificate. I mean, it's not like the stakes are not so high that if, something comes up and you can't finish it, it's not the end of the world, because guess what happened in the past to me? Because I have tried it, maybe lasted a couple days. I don't know.
I think it's 50,000 words, by the way, is the goal, which is definitely not a novel. Most novels are longer than 50,000 words. Right. It's just a way to get started, and it's a community and people like me who enjoy tracking and, putting something on a list so you can cross it off. I think that's really satisfying for certain groups like that, that you can, I think you can record your word count on their website. Like I think you can. Yes.
So you do that. And, people are at different points. One, they could be editing, but still you can edit a lot of words. The other point is that you could be writing a memoir that's only 50,000 words. You could be, because middle grade books are only 50,000. Some romances, science fiction. I mean, those things are like, burp, burp, burp. So you can write a whole novel. Just depends on the genre.
That's true. That's true.
But but regardless, I feel like I want to try to do it again this year, but I want to go into it more prepared, because I think that makes the difference.
Well, there's as much as NaNoWriMo is a hashtag and a community, there's also what's called PrepTober. If you look up hashtag PrepTober, and you're right, you need to get, if the goal is to do 50,000 words over 30 days, that's 1,600 words a day, 1,666. And I think it's a healthy practice, just what a great goal. I love the community around it, but I mean, let Jenny have something down, and then you have something you can work with instead of just that blank page, but you do have to get ready. You're like you say, you can't just start on November 1st. So when I looked
up the prep, and of course PrepTober, and if you go on the NaNoWriMo website, they have an actual 6-week course that you can do on prepping. But
really,
when you also,
you're too late for that.
You look at different groups and communities, and I think that's a big thing, a community. And I'm proposing, I don't know if you're going to do NaNoWriMo, but, if you try to do a little bit of it, we could maybe even have a little bit of a GOB community, because there's something that I tried a few times, and it's the write-ins. Have you ever done a write-in?
I have done one, only one, where you're just on like a Zoom, but
right.
And you're all just quietly writing.
And so they go, okay, they talk a little bit and, say hey and encouraging, and then go, okay, we're starting the stopwatch. Here you go.
Yeah.
See you in whatever minutes. And so then it's up on the screen, it's blank, and you do your writing, and then all of a sudden, 20 minutes later or something, somebody comes on and goes, okay, we're at the 20-minute point or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think we could maybe do that if our, listeners are interested out there. We could actually put like a sign up. So I'm willing to run it. I mean, if you're busy.
Yeah, because my writing time is not a very common time to write. But
it doesn't matter, because there is people that write at different times. Yeah,
that's right. I really wasn't anticipating doing NaNoWriMo, but it does happen to coincide with I am drafting in November, and so I certainly could. I'm sure I can get 50,000 words in. I mean, okay.
So the tips that I was
going to share with
you. No, you don't have to commit, but we could maybe commit to, running a write-in, or, one or two a month during the month or whatever, depending on the interest. If we have people that are interested in doing it with us, but we could do it with each other too, and at different times, like you said. The other things, I had some tips that I thought sounded really good to me, and I hadn't really done this in the past. I just the first day signed up and just sat there and went, okay. And I am definitely the pantser in the crowd. So
yes, that's
there
true.
There are people like you that could do outlines, they could do character worksheets, they could do mood boards, they could do playlists, have all that ready ahead of time. Great. You guys start doing that. And then for the pantsers, I actually saw this one, and I put the link in our show notes, but there was a TikTok video done by Rebecca Thorne, and she does like 5 sentences to plot a novel, and that's for pantsers, and she breaks it down on 5 sentences that for different parts of the novel, and then it helps you so that you're not like, oh my gosh, I get halfway through and I don't know where I'm going.
Like, what
it might
sentences?
Work, but I thought it was pretty cool. And I've been wanting to get into TikTok a little bit. I know you watch it, but I'm thinking we could post some stuff on it anyway.
I know. I do like TikTok. I love Book Talk. There's just so much good stuff on Book Talk.
And so she looked like, I just looked at her, I don't know what you call it, her TikTok site. And she has all kinds of tips for all, writing, and she's just fun little, things. And so I'm definitely going to look at TikTok more, but that was some of the things, but back up a little.
Okay.
The important stuff, not just all this outlining. Food. We have to have our food and all. Well, first of all, we're both the ones that usually provide the food for the family or whatever, meals, meal prep, whatever. So what we have to have is everything ready so that we're not wasting or fooling ourselves and procrastinating by doing food prep. So have things ready, have snacks ready, have everything ready so that we can't be like, I need a break, so I think I'm going to, cook everything in my freezer or something. I don't know who would do that. I never would do something like that.
I think writers do an awful lot of crazy things to procrastinate.
Yes, I do. Yeah, and so that was one thing. And then the other is really planning the month schedule. And you are notorious for doing this, but I'm not one. I am a little bit, but I'm not one that would necessarily say, okay, priority writing for this month. And I think with Thanksgiving and whatever other events, you know, it really would be beneficial to say, okay, great. I'm going to do Thanksgiving. I am hosting or going here or whatever, but still on Thanksgiving Day, I'm going to work this period of time or not, but I'm going to work double on Black Friday or whatever. But to have that already in your head so that when crazy events come up or, you know, somebody says, let's go do this, be like, okay, well, I can do it in 3 hours or whatever. That's something that I haven't ever done in the past either. When I was finishing my novel, the first one that I finished, I did tell everybody, look, I'm not going to answer the phone.
I remember you telling me that you did that. Yeah. And
I not till 5:00. If it's an emergency, I guess, I'll check at lunch. And if there's 3 calls, then maybe.
It's interesting, Christie, because I know I've told you this before. I really, I'm a big fan of what's called the 12-week year. Just kind of organizing your life according to 12-week increments to make goals, okay. And then set tactics to achieve those goals. And one of the things that I find extremely helpful is time blocking. And I do the month in advance. And so I know all of the times that I can write for the remainder of October. And it's just a way for me to commit, I guess, and organize myself. Mm-hmm. Because I think, we're all busy and everybody wants to write a novel. And it's hard. You have to give up something to add that into your life. If you already don't have a writing routine, you have to give up something to add that in, right? And I've struggled with time for writing.
And if you do have, like, say you're a student and you have a lot of extracurricular or something, if you have a certain time that you want to spend on writing in November because you have this goal, then you could tell, okay, I can't do this event or I can't volunteer for this at this time because I'm sorry, these are my times, I'm not available. And you have to treat it like a job.
You do. You have to prioritize it. And I do think that's, I know NaNoWriMo, I really think it's a great program. I love the community. I love the concept. But I know there's a lot of criticism of it as well. For one, there are many successfully traditionally published writers who got their start, like their novels started in NaNoWriMo.
Well, what's the criticism?
That you're not getting quality, you're just throwing out words. And I guess that's one of the criticisms, I would say. I have a good mentor friend who is a book coach, and she despises NaNoWriMo. I think it's a way to create a practice over that month, right? Like just say 1,000 words a day, or in this case, 1,600 or whatever. Create a practice, but also it is easier to edit a thing once you have something down than it is to sit there and stare at the blank page. And, I had talked earlier.
Because like we said, there's really it's not like you're going to win $1 million if you do it. So there's no reason why you need to cheat or, just throw anything on the paper, because so what if you don't get it, you can take your time, but it's the routine and the practice.
I think so
say,
too.
Okay, even though I'm not going to get this, I'm going to get this goal or whatever.
Well, and also, what about, so let's say you don't technically win NaNoWriMo because you didn't get 50,000 words, but what if you got 30,000 words? And so you'd written 1,000 words a day.
Plus, you've probably gotten into a routine.
Right.
Because, I don't know that every day that I could write 1,600 words.
Yeah.
I mean, not, like you said, not quality. And I am more of a take my time, quality the first time around type writer.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not as much into the re-editing.
No, I think that's fair. I've been re-listening to, as I try to do every year, Stephen King's On Writing. Mm-hmm. I'm listening to the audio version right now.
Oh, okay.
as I'm taking my fall walks. And
I know, I've got mine out.
I know, you and I have mine too. We have different versions.
Look at all these notes on top of it. It's like, there it is.
Yeah. But one of the things that I really took away this time was how King writes. And he really advocates for get that first draft down quickly. Get that first draft down quickly, and then you can dig the story out from that first draft. And it's funny, I was thinking about speed and the value of getting those down, and I think that just correlates really well with NaNoWriMo.
Yep. Hey, speaking of Stephen King, they were having some sort of like marathon on TV last weekend of movies. And so I caught the tail end of, what's the one where the rabid fan has,
oh my God,
James
that's my
Caan and
Misery.
Misery. So I caught the tail end of that. Oh my gosh.
Movies. Favorite.
Yes, it was so creepy. I forgot about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was riveted. And then it was followed by Firestarter, which is also a good one, and it was such, it was a good book too, but it's just funny to be like little Drew Barrymore, like burning down the house, but.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know, waste of time, but could have been writing, but whatever.
It's always good to enjoy a little Stephen King.
It's not November yet. All right.
That's right.
All right, well, we're going to do it. At least I'm going to do it, and you can encourage me, and, because you already are really good with your routine, but I am not. So if it takes NaNoWriMo to force me to put my priorities in my own writing first, then I will.
Well, how exciting is that? It's such an exciting opportunity.
Yes. Yep.
Bring on NaNoWriMo.
Yep. And don't forget, next week we have Erin Flanagan.
I know.
And
I'm so excited about that.
So if you haven't read the book, you still have time. Come With Me by Erin Flanagan. Get it. It's really good. And then you can join in with us virtually.
And Christie's going to put a link for anybody who wants to join us for a write-in in the show notes.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
I'm going to do that because I've done them and I liked them. And so I thought, well, what the heck?
Fun.
Why not?
That sounds great.
We'll see if anybody's interested. Anyway.
All right. Till next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.